one of my taglines is believing in you until you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And my self-belief is often like really low, you know.
Yeah.
So often I have like self-doubt in a massive way, and I have very difficult times. Even now that I've found the unique value that I have, and I've got an amazing business and I work in what I do every day, I still doubt myself, and I still have like moments where, and you know, I say moments, but often where things are difficult. And I don't think it ever really goes away.
Welcome, Sabine, to Confession Portraits. It's so nice to have you. We will talk about, you will have a confession to make and I will have a portrait to paint. And you are a coach, you're helping aspiring entrepreneurs or persons in general, I guess, to find their own unique value, their purpose in life. Is that correct? Is that how you would describe it?
That's right. Yeah. And by the way, thanks for having me. It is so lovely to be here with you, Sebastian.
How would you introduce your line of work and what you do?
Well, I kind of called myself, when I first started doing it, the UVP coach, which is a unique value proposition. Because when I worked in radio, I worked in commercial radio for a number of years, and my job was to go and interview clients from like little startups to large corporates, any business, even government. And I would find out what made them different. You know, we had to create ads for them to stand out on really busy airwaves. So, you know, a radio show has got like promos and competitions, and the ad breaks have got like 8 back-to-back ads. Plus you got the sports bulletin, plus you got the traffic, plus you know, there's so much going on. So if you don't put out like a really compelling ad, which by the way can only be 30 seconds, like you're just going to drown in the sea of noise. And so it was my job to go and kind of interview clients and find out like what made them different, what made them unique. And then I'd come back to the studio and I would brief the copywriters, and they would write a compelling 30-second ad so that our clients could sell their products. And, you know, we landed up helping clients sell millions in products. And some of them, you know, would insist on their own copy, and often it wouldn't work because they didn't know what people were interested in, you know?
No.
So that's really where it came. Like I started in the digital space. I wanted to create a life of freedom. I wanted to create like an online business running on autopilot that allowed me to live a life that I was desiring, because I realized that the 9-to-5 wasn't going to do that for me. And what I really struggled with as a solopreneur was really finding my thing. I didn't have the confidence to really know what value I could add to the marketplace. And I really struggled with, like, one day I had one idea, and then another day I had another idea, and it was just like always something different. And I couldn't stick to one thing. I couldn't be anchored by one thing. And I also was looking at all these people around me who was succeeding, and they seemed to have like this one really unique concept that they were known for, and I so longed to have that, you know.
I can really relate to what you did. It sounds like you're describing myself here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, except the radio part.
Except which part?
The radio part. That you.
Oh, right, yeah. And so, so the struggle, like I'd spent thousands on upskilling myself and learning about digital marketing and learning about like all the digital things. And I just wasn't getting anywhere. I was spending loads on advertising as an affiliate. And whilst I was making a little bit of money and I was getting leads, and one of the problems was the leads were coming in, and I was like, so what do I say to them now? How do I communicate with them? Like, I can share all these random things. I can share about like the personal growth stuff I'm doing, and I can share a few of the skills that I'm learning, but like, what is the one thing that they come to me for? And why, in heaven's name, are they going to stick with me for the long term so that I can have an asset? Because that's the whole thing. Like, if we spend money acquiring an audience to buy a product from us, you know, we don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. We want to actually keep that audience as an asset and resell things and create a relationship with them. And it was in that moment where I was like, I don't have anything of substance to keep them interested. And that's when I realized, like, I have to find the value that I bring. I have to figure out what value I could bring instead of constantly piggybacking on other people as an affiliate.
How did
Not
you
that
do
there's
that?
anything wrong.
Where did you find that?
Well, I did a deep dive and I was like, I just wrote down everything that I'm about, all my achievements, from getting my driver's license to being on the junior city council when I was in school, to like a little project that I did when I was at school, all the way until, you know, adulthood. And doing that in one sitting really made me realize, like, I actually have value. I really do have incredible value. And I took various elements out of it and realized every individual has a unique value proposition. It's not just set aside for businesses. And I thought, there's so many solopreneurs around me who struggle with that confidence, with knowing what they can do. Maybe I can help them. Maybe I can use my radio background. And that's how the UVP coach was born, and how the program.
So that's what you call yourself, UVP?
I call myself the UVP coach.
And that's unique value proposition coach. That's what it stands for. Yes, just to be clear.
Yeah. So that's what I call myself, and that's how it came to be.
So how do you do that work? How do you work with others? Because you dove deep down in yourself and found those different things. So I guess you do the similar thing with your clients, or how does that work?
Yeah. So what I do, it's a process of self-discovery, and it's really figuring out, like, what is your identity as an entrepreneur? So you look at your 5 elements of UVP. So the 5 elements of unique value are what you believe in. So those are your values, what you really feel strongly about.
Yeah.
Then what you're passionate about. And by the way, at that point, I was like, I don't know what my passions are. So I developed
you had so
process.
Many.
Well, I don't know. I had a couple of passions, but I couldn't see how to turn them into anything monetizable. And I didn't feel comfortable doing it, because my main passion is my faith. And I was like, I don't want to monetize my faith, really.
Sure.
And so I developed a process of how to extract those passions. What are passions actually? And how do you extract somebody's passions who feel like, I don't really have any? Like, what are my passions? A lot of us forget. And then number 3 is your natural gifts, the stuff that takes the least amount of effort to be the best at. And then the 4th thing is your experience and your skills. So your experience is where you get your authority and your confidence as an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
And then number 5 is, like, once you've got all of those elements, like, who is that niche that you serve? Like, what is the problem you can solve, and what is that niche? So it's a process of, like, each of those elements, you really find what each of those elements are for you, and you begin to come up with an idea and a concept that could be unique to you, that's based around you as an individual, that's completely unique. And that's what's amazing, is that the world is so competitive. There's so much competition out there, and there's a massive fear, like, well, if I'm going to be selling the same product as somebody else, how the heck am I going to stand out? You know, how am I going to be different? And that's true in employment as well. You know, like, how do you win the job ahead of somebody else? And it's about knowing what makes you unique.
These 5 elements that you talk about, it sounds very much like the 4 elements of ikigai? Is it
Yes, yes, exactly.
is it built on them?
Exactly, it is. So when I was first struggling with it, I went to a coach and I said, like, what can I do? How do I find my thing? And he said to me, why don't you look at Ikigai? And I thought, okay, great. So I Googled and everything, but there wasn't anything practical to take you through a process. It just kind of
Right.
listed, well, these are the elements of Ikigai, where it converges.
Yeah.
That's where your purpose is.
Sure.
And so it is based on that, but the fifth element is about what you believe in. And the reason I added that is because studying marketing, and when you market to somebody, it's not about you, it's about them.
Yeah.
And it's about when you figure out what you believe in, that they can also believe in, that is meaningful to them and you, you've suddenly got a really compelling and powerful message.
So you decided to add that to the mix and make more of a tool out of it to really turn them into those things that they can to really find that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking about it because when I think a lot of people are doing it now when they are grown up, they realize that they're in a place they really didn't choose. They just ended up there. And then they want to reevaluate what they are, what they want to do. And that's how I came to know you as well. So, but I just wonder, why couldn't school do this earlier to help people find this path and what you do really earlier? Maybe in the teens, maybe in high school or something. Start to really find that. What do you think about that idea? Have you thought about it? And
totally, you are speaking my language when you say that, because I actually started when I was 17. I couldn't wait for Career Day. I remember it as if it was yesterday. And I thought that they were going to help me discover like what it was that I could do that wasn't just something that I could earn money from, but like I was so excited to leave school and do something that I was passionate about and excited about. And they literally gave me a piece of paper with a whole bunch of lists and go, okay, just tick what you like. And there you go. And I was like, what? I was so disappointed. And I believe that we should be encouraging kids to tap into their natural gifts and abilities. And really, I mean, obviously, as a kid, you don't have as much experience. So the types of things that you're going to go for are going to be slightly different. Sure. But I would absolutely, it's one of my dreams to be able to reach teens and kids with this kind of work to help them have purpose and meaning in their lives.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice to have a school for the online school for teenagers to help them meet the new reality that they're facing? I was also I can really relate to that the school didn't help at all. Really, they said these are the defined jobs that you can choose, and choose something here. And it's nothing about me and what's in me that could actually bring some value to the world and bring some fulfillment at all. So when I was young, I read Hermann Hesse, I remember, and I really I admired that thing that I longed for, that kind of master to help me, that saw who I was and saw what was in me to help me forward. And I think that's what we really need in school, and that is really lacking. Have you thought about those kind of things?
I totally agree. I love the way you put it, where you say you longed for that master to see what was in you so that you could really find your thing. And I've completely thought about it. I've got 2 kids, and I really try so hard to nurture their natural abilities and gifts and their passions and help them to kind of really explore what it is that's meaningful to them and that inspires them, and so that they can really feel excited about what it is that they do, you know. And
Yeah.
it's not just because it feels like I believe that school has a place, and learning certain generalized things are relevant and valuable in certain circumstances, but not all. And I believe that we don't spend nearly enough time nurturing that softer side. And I believe there's going to be a massive change, because if you look at the different revolutions, the Industrial Revolution, where people, you know, school was created so that we could just turn into factory workers. And I think a lot of us know that.
Yeah.
And the thing is now with the onset of AI, where there's so much that's automated and so much of that robotic parrot fashion type of thing that is replaceable by AI. Now, we have to use our transferable translation type skills, the softer skills, the leadership type skills, the passions that you can't replace by robots. And I think it's going to be, I think the next phase of this generation is going to be mind-blowing. It's going to, I believe it's going to be, remember when you had like the Platos and the philosophers and all of that stuff? I think we're going to go back to that, because like, I don't think we're going to have much choice to do that, but then to start like delving deep within us to find out what is actually meaningful, that makes us inquire and be like, I think our curiosity is going to be completely tapped into. And I'm so excited about this work and where it's going to go, and what transformation it's going to create for humanity.
Yeah, it's a big thing. It's you quickly get into really big questions, and I totally agree with you. The school system is really designed for another reality, and we're still hanging on to those old institutions that don't really serve us in the world that is coming. In many regards, at least, I believe. So I totally agree, and it's interesting as well. You're talking about doing with your like helping your kids. That must be quite a challenge, I guess, to do these kind of things. I can see it. I also have 2 kids, and they're not. Yeah, they can talk about what they want to be when they grow up. They have such thoughts, and it's interesting to hear. And I really want to be a support for them and help them see what they are. But I'm not sure if it's my role or if it would be better if it was someone else that is not a parent. What do you think about that?
Oh my gosh, what a good question. I think it can be a combination of things. I think like as a parent, you can closely study your kids' interests and curiosities, and like help to expand that and nurture that and encourage that. Because if they have a certain interest, you can guide them by facilitating certain experiences for them that would help to grow that curiosity around that. And I believe, like if you look at Steiner education, that kind of whole purpose of that is to ignite the curiosity for learning. And I believe that the current school system is very narrowed. So it's structured to celebrate only a certain type of individual who is able to learn only certain types of subjects in a certain type of way. And I remember having a conversation. I mean, I'm sure everybody can relate to this. We were moving house a few years ago, and one of the guys that was helping us with the packing and the loading into the lorry and everything, well, I was having a conversation with him, and he said to me that he was told by his teachers that he was dumb at school. And so he just never amounted to anything, and he never believed he could do anything because he was dyslexic. And I was just like, my blood wanted to boil, because like, I just feel like that guy is probably one of the most magnificent people, but he never had the opportunity to explore it because there was only one way. And so if you create multiple different avenues to
Sure.
explore your own genius, because I believe every single individual has their zone of genius.
Okay.
So
yeah.
if we are, like Einstein said, if we are good, if a fish is being judged by the way it climbs a tree, you can't do that. You can't judge a fish by the way it climbs a
course.
tree.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I totally agree. It's really interesting to talk about this, but let's get to the confession of yours. What would you confess then?
oh, I was waiting for this moment. So
Is it hard?
I would say, well, I mean, it's funny. I was getting ready for this call today. I've never had a portrait done, and I had to make sure that I looked right and had my hair done and whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, there's so much. Like I was just thinking about what process happens in your mind, because you kind of, a lot of people are concerned about what other people think,
Yeah.
and it gets back to the unique value that you have. One of the biggest reasons why I did what I did is because the perception that I had of myself, and still have often, is one that is not of value. So I'm teaching
Right.
everybody else
Yeah.
how to find their unique value, telling them how incredibly, magnificently, uniquely
Yeah.
valuable they are. Yet I have these consistent, many, many moments in my days and weeks and hours where I don't feel valuable and I don't feel confident about who I am. And, you know, I question all the time. So I have to do things to kind of feel valuable. And that's why I kind of brought up doing my hair beforehand, making sure I look good, because there's certain areas where externally I feel I can kind of glue on this value.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to remind myself that the value comes from within,
Sure.
you know, within your soul and your spirit. And so, yeah, that's my confession. You know, like I teach that all day long.
So
and
how does
try and
it
tell
feel
people
when
how
you
valuable they are.
when that feeling hits you? How do you handle that? Or what feeling?
Usually, well, usually I'll either like eat a chocolate or shove that feeling down with some food.
Yeah.
Something. So
That's another
initially
confession.
it's like, yeah, totally. So usually I'll deal with it in more of a like an addict way.
Yeah.
You know, and just put a Band-Aid on it. And then when the anxiety builds up so much that I feel like, hold on a second, I've got to do something, I go into prayer.
Yeah.
And I seek the Lord and like what it is that he says. You know, I remember drawing a picture one day. There was like a horizontal line. Underneath that line was all these messy squiggles with the words, what I think about myself, what the world thinks about me, what society says I should or could be.
Yeah.
And then above that were like vertical lines equally spaced with these like arrows joining them, very organized.
Mm-hmm.
And then asking myself, well, what does God say about me? What does he say that I am? And
Mm-hmm.
so those are the like when I finally remind myself, okay, actually my creator knows me better than I know myself. Like, what does he say about me?
Yeah.
And that's how I deal with it. Yeah. So it's always like I first deal with it my way with addictive behavior.
Yeah.
And then I deal with it God's way.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting to hear. I can relate to both those things as well, because I also started to pray as well, and also a lot to think about gratitude, which I think that's a lot in the faith as well. And I grew up in faith, but I didn't really I couldn't really accept it as it was presented to me, and I tried to keep it away, and so I was really agnostic when I grew up, but then later in life I realized the power in it, in the faith, and I really struggled to find that. So is, I don't know, it seems to me like a really good tool to get out of yourself, to get out of those problems that you put on yourself. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And one thing that you said about gratitude, that is something that is so extremely powerful. And it's actually not that easy or
Yeah.
natural to do. Like I actually believe that we live in a world of entropy. So there's this constant, like the moment you are born, you begin dying,
Yeah.
like there's always like we know for sure that when we are born, we're going to die. And so a natural way of being is not gratitude. But when you take that on and start doing that, and practicing that is such a powerful tool and such an
Yeah.
easy thing to do,
For
to
me, it's,
transform the way you think.
yeah, I really, another thing that I do, this is now it's my interview here. But I just, no, but I
Go
do,
for it.
I listen to people, I listen to like find some YouTube channel in the morning when I want to get into a certain state of mind. I really want to get into a positive feeling in the morning, and not starting the day with the self-critique and doubt. So I really want. So sometimes I like help myself to do that by listening to someone, and that's really very much about deciding how you want to feel, and
Yes.
I think that's hard. And I think the great to be grateful is, yeah, it's quite easy to just say it and to just think about, yeah, that is a good thing, but to really feel it, I think I find it quite hard sometimes to do that.
I love that perspective. It's so true. It is easy to go, oh, I'm grateful for this thing and that thing and that thing.
Yeah,
But it's almost like, so how do you go from saying it to feeling it?
yeah.
So, like, what do you do?
Well, I
Is there a
listen to people
specific thing
like
that you do?
people that that yeah, talk about these things, and some people talk about just standing in the right position, like putting your body in a new state of mind. You force your body to be in the state of mind, and that gives signals to your
Ah,
body that this is another state of mind, and it helps you out of it. That's one thing. And then also to just practice mentally to to give that vision, and to think about those things that really, and to try to imagine those kind of situations you want to be in, or the kind of person that you want to be in. So I am really struggling to find it to do that, but and I don't have one easy answer to it, but those are things that I try to do anyway.
mm.
What do you do?
That's really interesting. Um, well, funnily enough, I just kind of thought about it now as we're having the conversation. Like, it's easy to be grateful for the good things in our lives, and I think that's where it's just kind of maybe not always, but it's just kind of where you say it. But what if you were able to look at the struggles and the so-called bad things in your life and find something to be grateful about that? Because I think that's where like deep gratitude comes in, where you're actually looking at the struggle and you find the silver lining there. Like, I feel like that's quite a powerful thing to do.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's good advice, and it seems like a thing that you have to continue doing. You are a coach helping others, but you're still struggling yourself. That's your confession as well. So
Totally. Totally. I'm a coach that needs a coach, big time.
yeah, I also did a lot of that a bit earlier, to just talk to myself in the video, but that was kind of therapy for myself. I didn't have when I didn't have a therapist, I could just turn on the camera, and then I could just start talking, and just talking, get things out of your system. It sometimes helped to get an answer. when you
Yeah.
try to.
Absolutely. I suppose that would be quite similar to journaling.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Oh,
the
that's
same
quite
thing.
Yeah.
It's well, I could talk a lot about this. This is really interesting things that I can dive into a lot, but we'll try to keep it. My aim is to keep these talks to about 30 minutes. So I'll try to do that, and I think it's time for you to see the portrait that's been done here.
Oh
You
my
ready
gosh.
to do
Okay,
that?
let's look. I've never had a portrait done, so go for it.
All right,
I'm ready.
and I guess I need to switch. No, you can see the camera. Let's see. I have to think. I need to juggle the different roles I have because I'm an editor as well.
Are you going to be the tech guy?
Yeah, sure. But I'm going to show you. So, this is a portrait.
Oh wow, that's amazing! You are unbelievable.
It's okay.
Wow. Oh wow, that is incredible. You are so talented. I'm gonna I have to show that to my son because he's an artist too.
He is, all right. Does he
Yeah,
like
he's
to
an
paint
artist
in
too.
oils?
He's not really, I think he's done a little bit of paint. He's more into sketching. He's kind of like a you know, a starting artist,
Sure.
a fledgling. But he definitely would appreciate that so much.
Yeah, sure. It's good to hear. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And it's well, you have a certain time and then you can get to some place. So I keep these portraits quite small, so I get time to I don't.
I'm going to have to get that from you. I'm going to have to purchase that portrait from you for sure.
All right. Yeah. All right. We'll talk about that. And I have my portraits up here. That's my idea. But maybe I'll make another one to keep on my wall.
What do you mean up there?
Yeah, you can't see it now, but it's on the wall. It's I started to put the portraits for these
collecting
talks.
them.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing! I definitely need to see those as well.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
well, sure.
Let me just tell you that
Yep.
this interview has been so fun, and I love your idea. I love your concept. I think it is genius and so clever, and I wish you everything of the very, very best with all the interviews and portraits and things that you do. It's incredible.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you. And before we end up here, I just want you to give a shout out to someone. To where can people find you if they want to get your help to find their unique value proposition. To what website do you have? What channels can you guide them to?
So you can find me online at becomingyouinc.com.
Right.
Or you can find me on Facebook, Sabine van der Salm. And there'll be I think on Instagram as well, Sabine van der Salm on Instagram. And there you go. You can find me there.
I will put the links down below as well.
Brilliant. Excellent.
All right. Thank you so much for agreeing to this talk and this portrait session. And I wish you the best and hope to hear from you again.
Oh, brilliant, Sebastian. Thank you so much. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.